Welcome to Lair the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock, and welcome to another edition of Sabbath Sunday. This is where Darren and I get together with you on Sundays to discuss all things Black Sabbath and Black Sabbath related. And for today's episode, we are going to be listing songs that we would like a Black Sabbath singer to sing in the Black Sabbath catalog that they did not originally sing. All right. So in other words, maybe an Ozzy song that we would have liked to have heard Dio sing on, maybe a Tony Martin song that we would like to hear Ian Gillan sing on, or something like that. So that's the plan for today. That's what we're going to go for here. Personally, me, I don't know. We didn't talk about this, Darren, but I envisioned in my head a studio recording. So just not the person singing it live. In my head, I was trying to imagine how this person's voice would have sounded if it was done on the studio version. So that's what I did with my list.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you want to start us off there? What's your first pick?
I'm going to try to knock you out of the game right away, because I have a suspicion that you're going in the Gillan. You're going towards Gillan. So I'm going to come out with, I would like to have, well, I still like to hear, I think his voice is still pretty good. It's not as good as it used to be. It's certainly not as good as it was on Born Again, but Ian Gillan, I would like to hear Ian Gillan do a version of Headless Cross. I think that Tony Martin does a fine job with it. I
picked that one. I was one of the ones that I picked, I swear. And I just put it on my list at the last minute too. It just came to me like, gosh, I should put that. I'm also going to look right before you go on. I'm going to note that my picks, and you can tell me if you're the same way, these are these singers in their prime. So the singers we're dealing with are Ozzy, Dio, Gillan, Hughes, Martin. So this is these guys in their prime, not where they're currently at.
Sure. So, the archetypal version of these singers.
Okay, so that's a good pick. Gillan, Headless Cross.
So Gillan, Headless Cross. I think Tony Martin does a good job with it. It sounds a little AOR. That's always kind of been one of the things that kind of really kept me from totally embracing this album. But man, the song, the lyrics are kind of like a ghost story, and I would one of the few times that I could think of that I would almost welcome a Born Again type of production on this song, at least in so far as some of the murky quality a little bit, and give it a real thick, creepy horror vibe. And I think I think Gillan shrieks and screams, especially in the chorus, man. I just think that was really light that song up. So, that's my number one pick.
That's when I was thinking, when I put that on my list, that was the first thing that came to my mind, was that chorus. And I could just totally hear Gillan. Hey, his screech over the top of that would have been awesome. So that's a good pick. All right, I'm gonna go with then, and we sort of alluded to this in our last, we talked about it in the podcast for sure. I'm not quite sure if it made it onto the YouTube edit. I know we were talking about No Stranger to Love, but I would like to hear Glenn Hughes sing Keep It Warm from Born Again. I was gonna say the song Born Again, but those high screams from Gillan and that, I don't think that's not really Glenn's thing. And that's such a signature part of that song that I could just hear Glenn on Keep It Warm, because it's so bluesy. The verses in it, sweet woman, I could just picture him singing that in the chorus. I could picture him doing a really good job on that chorus. So that's my first pick, Glenn Hughes singing Keep It Warm from Born.
Yeah, I think that would sound cool. My second pick is Ozzy doing Time Machine from Dehumanizer. I think that song has, Dio does a great version of it. He's great on it. Tony Martin also does a great version. I like the way Tony Martin sings it. But the song itself musically, it has that driving rhythm, that riff that kind of reminds me a little bit of Symptom of the Universe. When you separate the vocals and you just listen to the riff, it does have that driving Symptom of the Universe kind of vibe. And the lyrics, I think, would be conducive to what I can hear Ozzy singing. And I think that higher range that Ozzy has would sound really cool. It would really reinforce the heaviness of the riff. And it just came to me. You don't go you can't really think of too many songs that Ozzy can do that Dio did or that Tony Martin did. You can maybe get into Ozzy doing something off of Born Again, but Gillan really made that album his own. But you really can't hear Ozzy doing a lot of Dio songs. I mean, Dio songs are just set up for the dynamics and delivery and the lyrics and everything. It's like two separate worlds. But I do think that Ozzy's voice would really be conducive to making Time Machine pretty cool. Give it a kind of a 70s Sabbath sound.
Yeah.
I like to do that.
Yeah, I could picture that, like Technical Ecstasy, like that album would fit on that. All right, so I'm going to go with Ozzy, but I'm going to go with Ozzy singing Country Girl from Mob Rules. And the reason why I say that one is because it's one of the very rare, if maybe the only time with Dio singing with Black Sabbath where he sings along with the riff in the verse, then he sings, his line follows right along with Tony's riff. And that's a signature Ozzy move, Iron Man and stuff like that, where Ozzy would follow the riff. So I could hear Ozzy doing that, but I could especially hear Ozzy in that quieter middle section, in dreams I think of you. I could picture Ozzy's sort of nasally voice on that. And I just think that would add a creepy sort of element to that middle section, to the whole song in general, but that
that's a good call. That's a good call. I can hear that, especially when you said the middle part. I could definitely hear Ozzy really coming in strong on that. Not that Dio doesn't, but I can, like, what can I compare it to the way you described it? Maybe something like She's Gone or something. That clarity that he had in and around that time in his voice. If it was that era Ozzy, 75 to 76, in and around that time. Yeah, I could see him doing Country Girl, making it sound pretty cool. So,
all right, what do you got next?
All right, next. So Cross of Thorns. Love the song. I think Tony Martin does a great job. It's funny, probably one of my favorite Tony Martin songs of Sabbath, the Tony Martin era, Cross of Thorns. But man, I think Dio would really drive that home. The dynamics, the expressions. I think, again, I'm going to say Tony Martin sings it very well, and he does get pretty emotional. He does have an emotional delivery, especially when the chorus kicks in. But I can just see Dio just opening that up, and the quiet voice of Dio's, and then coming in with the growl and the force in the chorus. That to me sounds like a song that was almost tailor-made for Dio. Now, of course, the lyrics would be different, but in the imaginary world of this whole setup anyway, Dio singing those lyrics, I think could work real well.
I could hear Dio really on the "When a Promise is Broken." I could picture his voice fitting in that,
owning that. Not that Tony Martin doesn't. I mean, I want to say that the original singers of these songs did a great job. Tony Martin, of course.
This isn't about us thinking the originals are bad. These are just sort of us imagining what's a possible song that somebody else could have sung.
Just for a different perspective on it.
All right, my next pick is going to be Dio doing Megalomania. I can hear him at the beginning with that whole "I hide myself inside the shadows." I could picture that, and then that whole "Did I lie? I'm trying to get away from you." That whole part where Ozzy's up in his range. I could see, Dio free. Him. I could just picture him with his light and shade. The way he does, like Sign of the Southern Cross, for instance. He starts off mellow and then he gets really big. I could really see him really doing those verses in that sort of more quieter Dio voice. And then when that faster part kicks in, him really digging into that.
Yeah, I think he could do that really well now that you mention it. I didn't go with anything from Sabotage because I think Ozzy just really owns that record vocally. Really takes possession of the lyrics and the overall vibe, the intensity in his voice. But that would be a song that I think Dio could do and do it really well, because you're right, it does have the dynamics, the light and the dark, and all the shades in between. Yeah, that's a good call.
All right, did we give our three already?
Did you give three?
All right, well, I think we did mention that we had one or two bonus ones. You took one of my backups. You took my Gillan Headless Cross, but you got another one you want to throw in here? just for fun. We're only going to do 3, but we can,
Okay, so for the last one here, I've got Gypsy from Technical Ecstasy as sung by Dio. The cinematic, I mean, honestly, there's a great version. Probably one of the highlights on Technical Ecstasy, and we all know I love that album. But the cinematic quality, I think Dio could really do a cool version of it.
Yeah.
And the whole subject matter kind of lands in his wheelhouse anyway.
Oh yeah.
We already have a song on Holy Diver, Gypsy. So yeah, I think he would make a cool version of that.
And Dio loves to sing about evil women, Lady Evil, Country Girl. He sings about that a lot, like seductive, dangerous, evil women. That's a theme that runs through a lot of his stuff. So I could see him doing that, right?
I can hear him really owning that line. Gypsy woman, you're the devil in drag.
yeah.
I could just really get just all in on that.
Yeah. All right. Well, my bonus pick here is Tony Martin doing Backstreet Kids from Technical Ecstasy.
Oh, okay.
I could hear him on those verses, I'm just another, but the spot that I really hear him is living life comes easy if you, I could just hear his kind of, because he always has elements, he leans more towards the Dio camp, but he does have some elements to him that make him a little Ozzy-ish at moments, and I could just hear him in that living life comes easy, doing like his type of thing in there. So.
Yeah, he has a lot of variation in his voice too. You're right. When he does like I said, I maintain that was a great, when I saw him opening or singing for Sabbath twice, and I thought he did a fantastic job. It opened up a lot more options for the band as far as the back catalog and Dio era, and of course whatever they were touring for at the time. A lot of variations in his voice, so I don't know which way he would go with that. Maybe he would go into a harsher, more gruff type of thing, or maybe more mid-range, or he does do a good higher range too. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
All right, there you go. So there's some picks from us. We landed up with 4 picks of a Black Sabbath singer singing a song from a different era of the band. So let us know what you guys think of our picks. Let us know what your picks are. Remember, this is the guys in their prime, the singers in their prime. You get the idea of just the way we did, or however you guys want to do it. This is all just for fun. Let us know some of your ideas in the comments down below. Let us know what you thought of ours. Make sure you check out our podcast, Into the Void, a Black Sabbath podcast, linked in the description down below. And we will see you at the next Sabbath Sunday.